A man was sentenced to 7 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. You might think that his life is ruined, and that he would do anything to get out of there. But no, because this man had a plan. He decided to use these 7 years to learn something that will change his life forever. When he got to prison, they took away everything from him: his money, his phone, his car keys, even his toothbrush. All he had with him were the clothes on his back and the knowledge in his head. It was a blessing in disguise, though, because what he was about to learn could make him a multi-billionaire when he gets out. It all started when he met an old man in prison who had been sentenced for embezzling money from a bank while working as a clerk. The old man was already in his 60s, and he had been in prison for almost 20 years. "I've got some time left," he told our protagonist, "but not much. So I want to teach you something that will change your life forever." The old man taught him quantum physics. You may have heard the name before. It's one of the most complex branches of science, and most people find it boring. But there is so much more to it than meets the eye. To understand what exactly quantum physics is, we need to go back to the basics. We live in a three-dimensional world where things have a certain position and momentum at any given time. You can always know exactly where something is and where it's going, unless, of course, you're a superhero like Quicksilver or Superman. Even they have trouble keeping track of themselves sometimes. But seriously, if you have superpowers, why are you watching a video about quantum mechanics? Just go outside and do something useful for once. Anyway, as we were saying, we live in a three-dimensional world. However, scientists found out that on a subatomic level, things don't work like this at all. Let's take this ball for example. According to classical physics, if you throw it up, it will follow a parabolic trajectory and land back on the ground. But according to quantum physics, the ball doesn't really go anywhere. Instead, every possible outcome of this event happens at every single moment. So the ball is simultaneously here and here and here and here and here and here and here. This is called superposition. However, the moment you try to observe the ball, its trajectory suddenly becomes deterministic again. This is called the observer effect. In other words, reality is nothing but a set of possibilities, until someone decides to look at it. At the moment, the man still didn't see how this could be useful, but he continued listening to the old man anyway. The old man continued, "There is one more thing you should know about quantum physics. Have you heard of entanglement?" The man shook his head. Entanglement is when two particles become linked together in such a way that they influence each other's behavior regardless of the distance between them. Let's imagine we have two balls. We throw one up and leave the other on the ground. Now, according to classical physics, these two balls have absolutely nothing to do with each other. They're both just following their own trajectories. But according to quantum physics, the ball on the ground influences the ball in the air, and vice versa. This may sound crazy, but scientists have actually proven that it's true. The best part is that you can entangle particles with each other over vast distances. The old man explained that he had learned this from a book called The Elegant Universe, which was written by a Nobel Prize winner. The man thanked the old man and decided to put this knowledge to good use. He had always loved playing games, but now he could use his new skills to beat anyone at any game. The first thing he did was order a deck of cards from the prison store. When he got it, he immediately shuffled it and cut it into 2 halves. He placed one half in his pocket and kept the other half on top of the table. Then he asked the guard to pick any card from the half that was lying face down on the table. After the guard had picked a card, the man asked to see it and then put it back into the deck. He repeated this process until he had taken all the cards from the guard as half of the deck. Once he was done, he turned around and revealed his half of the deck to the guard. Guess what? Every single card he had was the exact opposite rank of the cards in the deck held by the guard. For example, if the guard had a 7 of hearts, the man would have a 2 of clubs. If the guard had an ace, the man would have a king. If the guard had a queen, the man would have a jack. If the guard had a jack, the man would have a 10. And if the guard had any of the 4 aces, the man would have it too. "How is this possible?" the guard asked. "Quantum physics," the man replied with a smile. The guard was confused, but he knew that whatever the man had just done was pure genius. He immediately gave him the winning half of the deck, and the two became friends. The man continued learning and teaching other prisoners about quantum physics. Some of them used this knowledge to win money at poker, while others used it to predict lottery numbers. The man made quite a bit of money himself, but he never forgot the old man who had taught him all of this in the first place. One day, the man asked the old man, "How come you knew all this stuff?" The old man smiled mysteriously and said, "I spent my whole life trying to understand the world around me. That's how I learned it." The man nodded his head in understanding. "But you didn't have any books or internet," he said. "How did you learn all this?" The old man replied, "I had someone teach me." "And who is that?" the man asked. "That's why I'm telling you all this," the old man said, leaning closer to the man and whispering in his ear, "because I want you to pass on what I have taught you to the next generation." After the old man died, the man continued teaching quantum physics to whoever was willing to listen. He taught men, women, and children. He taught people from different races and religions. He even taught people who didn't speak the same language. The man was so passionate about sharing his knowledge that it didn't matter if his students were behind bars or free. The only thing that mattered was that they wanted to learn. In the end, the man wasn't in prison for 7 years. He was there for 14 years. But that didn't matter anymore, because now he was free. He was free from the prison walls and free from the chains that had bound him for so long. He was also free from the fear of being forgotten and free from the doubt that had plagued him for so long. He was finally free to do whatever he wanted with his life. And guess what? He became a famous scientist and won the Nobel Prize for his work on quantum mechanics. But that's not the most important thing. What's important is that he never forgot the old man who had taught him that life is full of surprises, and that we should always be open to learning new things. So, if you ever meet a stranger and he offers to teach you something that will change your life forever, you should probably accept his offer. You never know what kind of wisdom he might have hidden inside his wrinkled old brain. As for the guard who had played cards with the man, well, he became a famous magician after the man was released from prison. The moral of this story is that we should never underestimate the power of human connection. The old man could have easily kept all the quantum physics knowledge for himself, but he chose to share it with the man instead. And because of that, they both ended up becoming successful and famous. So if you're ever in prison, try to make friends with the old men. They might teach you something that will change your life forever. Now check out another story about a man who was sent to prison for 20 years for stealing $20. This man became a multimillionaire after getting out of jail. Or watch this video instead.